Welcome to another episode of Will There Be Cake? I'm your host, Amber Simpson. With me, my co-host, Robert Lamb.
Hello.
And we have two special guests joining us again, Jack and Megan.
Hello.
Hello.
Thanks for joining us, guys.
Everybody said
you're so
hello
welcome.
weird.
Hello.
I followed
Hello.
your lead.
Who says it normal?
Hello.
Hi.
Hello.
Hi.
Hi.
How are you?
I like the hi.
You know what? All it takes is one hello to know if somebody's going to be annoying. For sure.
Or just
That's
like
very
weird.
true.
Yeah.
Hey.
Hey, what's up, man?
Hi.
Hey guys. I gotta go.
Yes. I don't want to
See
hang
ya.
out now.
Well, thanks for joining us for this very special day.
Very
Yeah.
special.
It's so special.
I can't wait to hear
Top
about
5
it.
holidays going on right here.
Don't think that's true. Yeah.
Not.
What day are we celebrating, Amber Simpson?
We are celebrating Kindergarten Day.
Not that day.
Children.
Children
Almost
everywhere.
Almost as scary as Halloween.
I mean,
Who decided to celebrate this day?
Seriously.
Someone.
the young kids.
Someone.
Nailed it.
It had to be someone. Definitely someone.
Nobody did. You know that?
I don't know who decided to celebrate it. All I know is who started kindergarten. Who started
Who started it?
who started
Not
the
the
first
day.
kindergarten.
Okay.
Yeah,
Who was
no,
that?
not but maybe it's
That was
when
Johnny Kindergarten.
maybe it's
right?
when they opened the first kindergarten. It was in 1779. Some people named Joanne Frederick Oberlin and Louis Shepler totally
Fucking
butchered their
Joanne.
names
Joanne Lewis.
because they realized
Damn it.
all these children are being left at home during the day without their parents.
Oh my
What?
God.
What?
And they're dealing with all their responsibilities in their Strasbourg community. So it was just in their community they realized a lot of children were being left alone.
So they were like, we need
So they're like, hey,
school.
we need a school in this small German town.
Yeah.
But they had a school for like later years, right?
I don't know.
They had to, I think, right?
Yeah.
I don't
so
think they started with kindergarten.
As
No,
soon
I-
as you said that and you were like kindergarten, I was like, I wonder where that word came from. And then you said German. I'm looking it up. It means children's garden.
Ooh, that
Ugh.
sounds creepy.
Now that's
Kindergarten.
That sounds like
So,
Like, are the
Children's
children
garden.
planting things? Are we growing children?
I think we're
are we
planting the
burying
children when they're
children?
I
bad.
think at a point of frustration, being a parent, I could see somebody burying their child up to their neck in the dirt and saying, "Now don't move.
pouring water
I'll
on
be
their
back
head.
after work. I'm gonna put a sandwich in a plate in front of your face. You eat it early, it's gonna be gone."
You see
Then
if
all-
your shit, it's just going into the soil.
That's right.
It's adding to it.
But then the groundhogs are just taking it away.
Yeah,
I like to think that it means like children will grow from the experience.
that's probably what they wanted.
Oh, yeah.
All right, that makes more sense.
kindergarten? Yeah, we take the children to the garden as they sit there all day.
Well, it's
We
very
go to
interesting.
work,
Very
and the
interesting.
children sit here. Sorry.
I'm just saying it's a very interesting way of saying it.
Yeah. What, the way I said it?
Kinder.
Oh.
Kindergarten.
Kindergarten.
Yeah.
Why not garden kinder?
So when you go to Germany, you got any kinders?
Yeah. Bring me to the garden.
Yes.
I want to see these kinders.
Oh.
I mean, do you remember kindergarten?
No.
No?
I almost got held back in kindergarten.
Actually, I do remember
Yeah.
kindergarten.
because I wouldn't shut the fuck up.
It's really a bad
Kindergarten.
story.
You can
But-
nap in kindergarten. That's all I
So-
remember.
That was good.
Sorry. Yeah. Yeah. Naps for the bomb.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wish they'd incorporate that now.
Into
Yeah,
the work
an adult life.
workplace.
Yeah. So I was when I was an older man, I was sifting through some stuff.
You're
trying to
older
help
than
my
you are
mom
now?
move. Yeah. Helping
Okay.
my mom move, and I found these boxes of all kinds of like notes home
Oh, yeah.
about young terrible Jack, and one of them was from kindergarten,
Really?
and I knew I was in trouble because when I picked the note up, it had dried tears on it.
Oh my
I
gosh.
was like, oh, for fuck's sake. So I'm like, let me take a gander at this and read it and see what it says. And so from the teacher's perspective, she goes, so Jack was building a castle today with blocks and another child came over and kicked the blocks over. And I said, uh-oh, that's not
That's
good.
going to piss me off because that already
I
pisses
already
me off
see
still.
young Jack going, oh, you motherfucker. And so then in the note, she goes from talking about, no, she says then after that the kid kicked over my blocks, he goes, much to my surprise,
Oh no.
Jack didn't do anything about it.
Oh.
Wow.
And I was like, go, little Jack.
Nice. So
And
you were a
then-
good kid.
Well,
No.
wait
It gets
for it.
worse.
So there's no note. If
So then
there's-
she, yeah, right.
It might have been a pleasant
Just want to
note.
let you know how
Like,
today
Jack-
he was good. Every other day,
Did I
Jack's
not
growing.
say that this was a box of notes?
But it also could be tears of joy on that paper.
It's
like,
not.
so
Spoiler
then-
Jack was
alert,
so
it's
good.
So
not.
then she jumps into my psyche, right? Like she's trying to tell the note from my point of view. She goes,
Right.
I think Jack then thought that because the other child was in timeout, he couldn't go anywhere. He couldn't do anything.
Oh no!
So Jack went and grabbed a wiffle ball bat and walked over to the kid and pointed at him and said, "Don't ever wreck my castle again," and started to hit him with the wiffle ball bat.
Wow.
I was like, man, I was a fucking psychopath. Which is the segue into why I wanted to do kindergarten day.
nice.
Was because you find out children are psychopaths.
children are
They are.
psychopaths.
Yeah.
That's the
correct.
only place other than a hospital where diarrhea,
It's
vomit,
like, it's like normal.
and just completely blood, disgusting shit
Yeah.
is completely normal.
Oh, I
Yeah.
would never be a kindergarten teacher.
No, me neither.
No.
Oh, that would be
Neither.
I
awful.
sat in on a kindergarten class when I was like going for my teaching degree and stuff, and I remember I was like, "Nah," and they're like, "We need male teachers because
Yeah.
they want like more male role models and stuff," and I'm like, "I'm good." I'm
Right.
like, they're nice. That's cool.
I
One of
don't
them was
need-
like cursing, going like "fuck this, fuck that," like, and the teacher at one point was just like "stop it," and then she's just like finally like, "Oh well, I can't stop it." I'm just like, "What the hell?"
That's amazing.
this.
Yeah, he couldn't get like something on the computer going, and then
Yeah.
he's just like, "Fuck this, fuck the computer, fuck the computer." I'm like, "Oh my god,
That's
like,
outstanding.
it's crazy." And then
Yeah.
she just stopped. She just gave up. She's like, "Nah, fuck
It's
it."
terrible.
She said, "Fuck it." Like,
Yeah.
she was just like, "Screw it."
You know what? You're right, Dylan. Fuck it. You know what? Fuck
they both-
abcmouse.com.
and they
And
took
you know what? Fuck you, Dylan.
Yeah.
they took the computer outside, just beat it to death,
Right.
like in Office Space.
The teacher and Dylan. He's in there in his fucking
She
light up
hands him a
shoes.
bat.
He's in his light up shoes, stomping on it every time his shoes light up.
Oh my God.
Wow.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so I was like, "Nah, no thanks."
Yeah,
I
it's not for
barely
me.
remember kindergarten. Like I remember nap times. I remember like always having to be in line when we went
I
somewhere.
remember it during nap time, like if you slept through the whole nap time or didn't move and pretended you were sleeping during the whole nap time, they would come around and like put a piece of candy either in your
Yes,
hand
in
or
your
bite.
hand.
So I would pretend to sleep and like
Just
this.
leave your hand
With
open.
my hand open. Yeah.
I wish people could see the pose you just did. Because she was like eyes closed, but hand definitely ready for something.
That's the best.
It's
one.
like, "Please, mister, just a bit of
hands.
candy."
Two
I'm,
hands cupped.
two
I'm
hands.
obviously sleeping.
Yeah. Obviously, I
I
sleep like
always
this
sleep
all the
hands up.
time.
How do you sleep? Hands up,
Yeah.
Learned it from kindergarten.
Palms up.
obviously.
Like,
ass down.
I really wish we could learn a lot from ass down, palms up.
That's the way.
He
I like
likes
to take a
nap.
nap.
Ass down, cans up. Put the candy in that cup.
Oh my gosh.
But like, why can't we incorporate that now? Can I be graded or get a raise on how well I sleep?
Honestly,
Right.
they should. I think they should have. I've heard that, like, they've done research, and
They
if
have.
you take like a 20-minute, 30-minute
Yeah.
nap, it's more productive.
Yep.
This guy knows he takes a nap every day at work.
In his truck
and you're
during
like,
lunch.
and you wake up, you're like, I'm ready to get some
No,
stuff done.
I'm actually no. It's a terrible thing because I go and nap in the truck, and then the alarm goes off, and I'm like, "Oh God, I need to get to work. Where am I?"
You're like in the truck, like
Fuck,
slapping
yeah,
the windows.
Or I'm like, "Yeah," and then I start driving to work. Like I just sit up and start driving, and I don't realize my seat is still reclined and back there, so
Oh,
I feel like
no.
a kid, and I'm reaching for the pedal. But yeah,
And then you get like a half a mile from work, and you're like, I was
Yeah.
there.
Yeah.
I was
Where
already
am
there.
I going?
my first ever meeting I ran, I was late for because I went early and slept, and I set the
Oh, no.
alarm for the wrong time.
Oh no.
My employees were texting me, going, "Where are you?"
This is
You're like sleeping.
Something important came up.
At
I'm
8
in the
the
parking
morning.
lot.
There was a fire, and there were these orphans.
And I had to rescue each one of them.
Yep.
Yep.
I made them wait in a line.
Oh,
All
my
right,
gosh.
everybody, line up.
Like kindergarten. That was the thing. Get in line.
Yeah.
You had to be like right behind the person. I
I just
remember that.
remember
right.
my kindergarten teacher had like a huge piano in her room, and I loved to sing And
really?
I would like sing all the songs, but then I would get super distracted by something, and then I would distract all the other kids. And then we would just sit there like having a conversation. I just remember her turning around yelling at me like every other day.
I just imagine seeing a very young Megan over by the piano. La 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 la.
Yeah. And that's pretty much what I was until I was like, squirrel!
What was that? Van Morrison? Like, brown-eyed girl. She's over there.
Yeah.
Brown-eyed girl.
Brown-eyed girl.
Do you remember when we used to sing? Sha-la-la-la-la.
Megan, for the love of God,
Yes.
change the channel.
This is the wheels on the bus. Damn
Yeah.
it.
The wheels on the bus go round and fucking round. So I think we should ask, how important was being a line leader?
Oh,
Oh,
Yeah,
man.
it was.
all the way up until it stopped.
Yeah.
Always.
Till I was a senior.
Yeah.
Yeah. I love being
I remember
a line
one
leader.
particular year. It's off topic from kindergarten year, but we're talking about being young,
Right.
and it only ever went alphabetically.
Oh,
Really?
really?
And my
That
last
sucks.
name
Messed up.
is a W, so I was like, "This is some fucking bullshit."
Austin, baby.
I know.
Austin,
Thank God now.
Now think
Now
of all the
I'm
lines you
married
can
to
lead.
him,
Yeah,
yeah.
but you're ready to lead
There
some
was,
lines.
leader.
there was always like an Andrews or something
Right.
near the front, and I would always just lean forward. Don't fuck this up.
I will kill you, and then I'll be first.
You better get us to and from PE, baby.
You might get lost on the way.
That's right. Yeah,
Just
we'd be
you.
going
East from
hey,
the
take
court.
a right. Take a right. No, PE's left. No. Take a right. As soon as we go, Mrs. Grammatica.
Grammatica.
Yeah.
That was her name?
No, that was just an elementary school teacher. I don't know if she was kindergarten.
I don't
That's
remember
a
my
dope
kindergarten
ass like
name.
For a
elementary school
teacher, yeah,
name.
for a teacher.
Grammatica though.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
That's like Mrs. Teaches or something.
Yeah.
Like,
She then got a divorce and was Mrs. Phillips,
Oh, that's
which
dumb.
was not as flashy.
and then
So dumb.
She should've kept
she
the
quit her
name.
job, started working at Home Depot, and only sold
Yeah.
screwdrivers.
Right.
Yeah.
Wow.
Cool.
There you go.
But no flatheads.
None.
flatheads.
Okay, all right.
Right. So yeah, being line
now-
leader was important.
But now you guys have to deal with kindergarten.
We've already done it.
Oh yeah,
Oh,
we're
yeah,
past
out of
that.
kindergarten?
but
Yeah.
not like
What ages is kindergarten?
5, right?
5.
So
5. Okay.
I think it's
Yeah.
5.
So my boss's kid is like, I think he's 4, and she told me the other day a story about her kid. He is also has that crazy baby Jack mentality.
Yeah.
She told me that his teacher called her the other day, and he was being bullied by this kid, and he took off his belt and wrapped it around the kid's neck.
Hell
and
yes.
started choking the kid.
Jesus.
I was like,
That's
what
some
the
WWE
fuck?
type shit.
let's see if he touched my fucking peaches again.
I was like, damn, something is wrong with your child.
So all of that shit stems from parents.
Right.
So if
Yeah.
you have a fucked up kindergartner, go look in the mirror.
Yeah.
And I feel guilty about this because this happened. It's funny you say the this kid stories, because when our youngest was very little, my mom had dropped him off. She goes, he was so scared of this little boy at school today. And I was like, what? And I look at him, and he's sitting down, and he's got a ravioli everywhere but his mouth. And I'm just like joking, and I go, oh, yeah, if he scares you tomorrow, just walk up, pop him right in the face.
Uh-oh.
And his mouth full of ravioli. Okay. And I was like, ha ha ha. We had a good laugh. So I go to pick him up the next day. He's in the office.
Oh, no.
Yeah. And I go, what's going on here? And the lady goes, it was the strangest thing. He just walked in and walked right up to this kid
Oh, no.
and
No,
punched
he
him.
just didn't even wait.
Really?
Punched him right in the face. And so she tells me this story, right?
Oh, my God.
I am not admitting guilt at all.
Of
So I'm
course
like,
not.
wow.
I can't
He's
believe he
never
did that.
done
I
anything
can't
like that.
believe he did that. And then meanwhile, I'm looking at him like, shut up. Be cool.
Dad, you told me to.
Right. So
Shut up.
he's looking at me and I'm like, wow, that's amazing. I can't believe he did that. We'll talk about it. He and I.
I think one of the funniest memes that I've seen lately is because of all the coronavirus talk was the fact that somebody like posted
Months ago, yeah.
of course that people who now have to have their kids at home for the quarantine. Now you guys are going to learn like what these teachers have been talking about with your kids like all this time.
Yeah, my favorite one was
so
if you see
many.
me talking to myself, don't worry, I'm just having a parent-teacher conference.
Yeah, exactly.
Where school was great today. 2 kids got suspended for 5
Yeah.
minutes,
Yeah.
and the teacher got fired for drinking on the job. That's me.
Yeah.
Working from home during that.
See,
nonsense.
but I have advantages if I'm the teacher, right? Because I can look at them and say, "You're going to do your math homework. Beat your ass."
Yeah.
You're not eating dinner.
He's going to look at me and go, "We're doing the math."
Okay.
Cool.
Love
Math
math, Dad.
time.
I love
Math
math.
time.
It's my
Yeah.
favorite.
Can we have PE? No.
No.
Yeah,
Can't go outside. Coronavirus.
Yeah, go outside and die, loser.
yeah. Let's see how strong your immune system is.
Oh my God.
But it is a very serious subject. And
It is.
hope
Yeah.
everyone-
The kindergarten, it was a party back then. Now they actually have to learn shit.
Yeah, no, it's a
Yeah.
lot more.
Because I
strict
remember
now.
it was playtime and structuring and like you
Yeah,
know,
for the most part. Yeah.
learning how to be a functional
Just
student.
human.
And now they really want you, like math and all
now
that
they get ready
They-
for like the FCAT. And
Yeah,
shit.
they're bringing
Like
it
that
home, and
young.
I was like,
What?
wait a minute, you're
Like
in
that
kindergarten.
young.
Why do you have this?
Holy
Like
crap.
they go through like the structures of
Yeah.
like taking a test and stuff like on like
They
the
actually
computers and
have
stuff.
what's called it's an FSA testing, at least here,
Right.
and it's comparable. Like if you don't pass it, you don't.
Yeah,
move
you
on.
can't. Yeah,
Right.
that's
Whoa.
And it's like 3rd and beyond. It's like it's young. Yeah,
That's
it's
crazy.
yeah, it's stressful.
One thing
As a
that
parent, too.
I wish they
Oh,
did
yeah.
was like in Japan, they don't do any curriculum at all in kindergarten.
Really?
They do they focus on the cleanliness of their classroom.
right. Clean.
They
yeah, I
bring
saw
the
that.
food in and like the kids dish out the food for their
Oh.
and there's 2 sections. There's a time when there's food in front of you, you have to eat everything in front of you.
Mhm.
And then like after that time is over, if you don't have big eaters, like, okay, here's everything you eat, whatever the hell you want. But they have to focus on following the rules. They do the janitorial duties in the class too.
Whoa.
They do all that. And so they
really
learn
neat.
how to be functional and take care of themselves and be organized. Then once they get all that down and they move on to higher grades, then they actually start their curriculum.
I like that.
And I mean, I wish kids now, hey, walk into any Walmart and tell me I'm wrong.
I know. Yeah.
See those little bastards pocketing Twix bars.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, I
And-
think that should be
Or just
like.
cleaning up after themselves.
Yeah.
Like,
Well, I think that should be throughout the. I think one of the problems with like the American education is there's not a lot to get people like ready for like the real world
Right.
in the sense of like even the older
balancing a
ages.
checkbook. And
Yeah, like all that kind of
opening
stuff,
your
like
bank
paying
account.
bills, like
Yeah.
what to look for when you want to sign up for different like
Yeah.
health insurance or different insurances and stuff like that. Like
Yeah.
any of that, or fixing your car, or anything that you might need. Like, I mean, at least now you have YouTube. I guess you can look all that
Right,
stuff up
yeah.
afterwards. But
Yeah.
it's one of those things that never like occurred to them.
But that's such an important skill, taking care of yourself.
Oh,
and,
for
like,
sure, yeah.
Your area around you.
Mm-hmm.
Like
I agree.
I wish that was something they would teach some functional adults now.
yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
that back in
For
when we
some-
were
I
in
work
kindergarten.
at a bank, and you wouldn't be surprised how many people have no idea how that works.
Like, yeah, the money and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, of
The
course.
money,
the money,
you know.
The money.
all of the
Right.
money.
All the
is-
money. Hey,
all of
my
what do I do with all my
card
money?
stopped working. Yeah.
Because
Although I-
there's bubble gum stuck to it.
I do
down there.
remember
Yeah, right.
Enterprise Village was the only time that I
Yeah.
ever learned
Hey.
about.
That's like a couple of hours.
Yeah,
worth of,
one
like,
day.
adulting.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
like one day,
I
and
love
I'm like, I
that.
don't even
I
write
do
checks
too.
anymore.
Fifth grade, buddy.
I wanted
Fifth grade
a,
was the show. That's
Yeah.
when you went to
Yep.
Enterprise Village.
Yeah.
I
I
just
worked at
remember,
Eckerd.
I just remember
you?
wanting.
I was
a-
WQAK.
I don't remember where I
Oh,
worked.
you of course you were.
Of course, yeah, that makes total sense.
Yeah.
I don't remember where I worked, but I just remember I really, really wanted like a 1998 white Audi as my car.
You're like, I got to work hard at this
And
McDonald's.
it didn't matter what I was doing otherwise.
Yeah.
I just remember that that's what I wanted, and I got it, and I was successful in life.
Really?
because of it. Like, I
Nice.
just remember being so happy that I got to pick that car. 'cause
I
I
know-
could afford it.
Oh,
I know where I
in-
worked.
in Enterprise Village.
Yes,
Go ahead.
I worked
Not in real life.
I worked, yeah, in real life.
I haven't had an Audi.
Much more disappointing in real life. I have not been able to
The
afford the car of
98
my
Audi
dreams.
did not pop like I thought it would.
No.
I
But
pulled
back
up to a
then,
crowded
I-
intersection. Nobody gave a fuck.
None.
Nobody was pointing at me.
Just going,
I had my windows down.
Yeah.
I had my Britney up.
No. I was
Looking
just
around.
Chumbawamba.
Yeah. I get knocked
yeah,
down.
that one song on
That's
repeat.
what
we
we
should have
Oh my
done
God.
10 days ago
We should
10 days ago.
At
for
the barbershop
Tub
for
Quartet.
quartet.
Barbershop Quartet
Oh,
Day.
man.
That's
I
so
get
right.
knocked down, but I get up again. No, you're never gonna keep me down.
I get knocked down.
We're so fucking good. We're so good.
If you didn't listen to the Barbershop Quartet Day, definitely go back and listen to it. 'Cause it's a gem.
If you haven't
It's a
listened
gem.
to the Barbershop Quartet Day, fuck you.
Yeah, stop listening now.
Why would
and
you skip holidays?
Just leave. Yeah, there's a holiday every day. This releases every day.
Do you even celebrate?
Keep up, man or woman?
Person.
I didn't want to be. Yeah,
Yeah, well.
we got it.
We're sending mixed
But
messages
really
at this
quick.
point.
really quick. I worked at Blockbuster. That's where I worked.
Oh, you got a good one. I wanted to work at McDonald's or the bank. And
McDonald's, I think you got free
Record.
food when you
Yeah.
were working there.
You did?
Yeah.
And then
Yep.
Blockbuster, like I was the bookkeeper there, so I just had to
Okay.
keep track of it.
Yeah, so
I don't
I was
remember.
at WQYK, but I wasn't on the air.
Cincinnati.
They didn't trust me with that responsibility.
Wow.
But they were
fucked
like,
up.
we're going to have trivia. And I was like, oh, okay, cool. And so I wasn't paying attention. So when it was time for them to do trivia, they look at me and go, so what's the trivia question? I'm like, well.
Here we go.
And I just remembered something stupid about like the Cowboys because they were really big that year. And they were like, that's your trivia question?
Okay.
But they did. They announced it on the air.
Wow.
And they went and got a lanyard from WQYK or something. I was like, I wouldn't want to win this anyway. I was a terrible employee.
I mean, we were all learning then.
Yeah, and you know what? We're not talking about kindergarten
No,
either.
I know.
No,
Yeah,
we totally off
Yeah.
topic here.
This won't be the first time that
Let's
we've
go
been
back
off
to the
topic.
kindergarten, yeah.
Yeah.
Unser Kindergarten. Frolic and play. Little kinders.
Each little kinder.
All the little kinders. That little kinder shot himself today. First of all, if that's how the director
Shat or
talks, my
shot?
kid's not. Scheisse.
Choice.
He took a nice toasty scheisse in his pantaloons.
Nice steamy shice.
That's the word we
Pantaloons.
needed. So
Steamy.
nice and steamy scheisse.
Steamy.
Guten Tag, Fräulein. Have you scheissed yourself?
Oh my god. Okay.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's.
we got to figure out how do you celebrate kindergarten day
Ooh.
Oh, good
That's the big
question.
one.
I don't even know.
besides joking about it for
Burn down a
half an hour.
kindergarten.
I think when I was like looking it up, it was just like to remember and
To remember.
those people that created kindergarten.
That's how you celebrate it. You remember
So,
Josephine and
You said
Frolic
no,
or
she
whatever.
said Joanne.
Joanne.
Is it possibly
and Lois.
Johann?
And Louis.
It's probably Johann.
Johann and
Johann.
Louis.
Joanne.
Maybe is it Luhoa?
I
What is
told you.
happening?
I told you. I butchered their name.
That's
but
okay.
Johann is probably correct.
He's not going to say shit, I
Yeah,
promise.
he's probably not
Excuse
alive.
me, we're from the
1779.
Johann Remembrance Office. We were listening to your podcast.
This is a cease and desist.
Yeah.
Totally is on.
Take the
it down.
podcast down, or you will have a scheisse storm on your hands.
Yeah, it says this day tells us to remember these days and the man who started it.
Kindergarten Day.
Kindergarten
Day.
Day.
I'm going to find the
That's a
name here and see what we
It's
got.
totally
I think-
Johann.
Is that a student?
It's
though?
Johha.
No, it's the guy who created it, right?
N.
It
Johann.
honors Friedrich Wilhelm August Frubel.
Jesus Christ.
Okay, well,
Credit given.
sounds right.
We don't
Starting-
pronounce good here in the United States, baby.
He was a German teacher and a student of Johann. So
he
Johann
was-
was his inspiration, I guess. So
Oh,
yeah, it's
okay.
honoring them both.
Oh,
That makes
Okay.
sense.
30 years later, teacher's pet. Great job.
Bring apples. An apple to his teacher.
Friedrich
mean, you
Wilhelm
could-
August Frobel.
I don't even know how you would celebrate
Und sie
kindergarten
Johann
day. You don't want to go visit a
Yeah,
kindergarten.
don't go.
Especially
I've
if you
done
don't
it.
have a child.
Don't do it. Yeah,
Froebel.
definitely don't do it if you don't have a
I
child.
would definitely
Yeah,
not
you'll
do
get
it with a
arrested
child.
for sure.
Well, that too. I've done sit-in hours. Don't do it. It's
Yeah.
fine. If you have a kid and they're in kindergarten, congratulations. Stick to it.
It's not over soon.
Yeah,
The suffering
it
has
gets
just
worse.
begun.
It gets
Yeah.
worse.
And
Wait
unless
till the
you want-
teenage years.
Unless you want like
Yeah.
boogers on your jeans.
Oh, so I don't know if you guys do this, but on other podcasts that we've done, if you listen to this and you have a crazy story about your kindergartner,
Ooh, yeah.
please
Oh,
at the show.
yes.
Please let us know.
I would love to hear it.
Yeah,
Yes.
at Seven Lamb or at Will There Be Cake?
If you have a kid who likes
If
to
we,
abuse other children, please tell us.
yeah.
Tell us about your little psychopath.
Because you know what? Next year we'll probably be celebrating this day again, and we'll need some new
Let's
content.
do
Yes. Can't talk about our drama.
Please.
Yeah, I know.
Whoop, whoop.
Can't be in reruns next year.
Okay.
All right.
So,
Most
do we-
important question.
do we have cake on this day?
I mean, I don't see why you couldn't.
Why not? Children like cake.
So,
if you're going to celebrate
so-
with kids.
yeah, it's situational, right?
Okay.
Are they your kids?
Again,
your kids get the cake?
we want to stress, please don't hang out with other people's kids. Unless,
Or
like,
are
you're
you
a
loading up
babysitter
these
or
little sugar bombs and sending them home to explode?
Oh, you mean bringing like a cake to
right?
kindergarten?
So like a kindergarten teacher would be like, you know what?
Here's
Fuck
some
these
sugar.
parents.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
I've sent home so many
assholes.
notes with little Johan,
Yep.
and I haven't heard from his parents yet. So I'm going to load him up on cake and send it in there. But in a more real answer,
Right.
you cannot send cake to the kindergarten
Why?
No, you cannot. Not
because of dietary restrictions.
like
That's
the
true.
frosting.
They will not allow you to have any of that shit in there because one little kid can't have it,
Yeah,
so
but-
they can't even have it
You
in
can
the
But
room.
what
generally
if?
get
But
it
what if you
cleared.
fill it with like peanuts or something?
Well, I mean, that's causes for more concern.
I was like, I think that's worse.
Well, I
But
didn't
a
know
lot
we
of
were
kids-
getting sadistic.
A lot of kids are like gluten free anymore because
Yeah.
you know
Oh,
that's a
jeez.
thing.
Yeah,
Well,
I
that's
get
a whole
it.
different topic. for
Little
a whole
Peyton
different
can't
podcast.
have anything that's ever touched outside air. So
You only have in the can
we
where they would
normally,
grow.
yeah, we feed him by
Canned cake.
chewing his food and then spitting it in his
Ew.
mouth.
We had,
Mama bird, baby
oh,
bird.
that was Reese Witherspoon. No, who was the
That's
the
a real
famous
thing.
celebrity who does that?
What?
Not
That
Reese
is
Witherspoon. It was
absolutely disgusting.
Dang it! It was
It
like
sounds like a John Travolta thing. I got to be
no,
honest.
it's not John
Oh,
Travolta.
Kate
It's
Hudson.
not like a Scientology thing.
Is it Kate Hudson?
Is it?
No, maybe
Is it carrot?
it's
I think it's Kate
definitely like a celebrity.
So little Gunther gets so much more nutrients when I vomit his dinner into his mouth.
Oh my god.
Everybody in here is Googling who spits in their baby's mouth. Somewhere on a Google search list, you
Oh,
guys
is it
just got at it.
Alicia Silverstone?
Yeah, that's it. Alicia Silverstone.
Pre-choose food for her son,
That is not
10-month-old son.
You
11th
guys-
month.
the
old
mic
now.
didn't pick up the gag that would seem like it would be audible
Yeah.
for her son.
Oh my god.
She also keeps him in a little nest that she made out of twigs.
Right. She
Very cool.
also wears the Batgirl costume.
Yeah, she flies
And defends him
she
from
runs
invisible
into the
invaders
house. Yeah, and she goes
Gross.
down to the water. She catches a good fish.
with her hands.
Yeah, with her taloned hands. She grows her nails out. She carries it home.
Look what
Goes to the
got.
nest.
Mommy
Oh my
got you a
God.
mackerel.
This got graphic.
Oh my
Yeah.
god.
And the kid is just like
Thanks, man.
he's eating it. He's like,
What the fuck?
He's like,
Yes.
Bringing it back. Bringing it back.
and it's all a circle.
It's all a
all
circle.
right. Well, you know what? I say if you
Let's veto the
practice,
cake.
if you practice the Silverstone method, if you're Silverstoning your kids,
Yikes.
chew up that cake, spit it right into their mouth.
Yeah, there you go.
That's a way to do it.
'Kay.
Cool.
Sounds
All right,
great.
Yeah. So,
And on that note,
and on that
I
note,
think that does it for this episode of Will There Be Cake. Thank you for joining us, Jack and Megan.
always.
welcome.
See you tomorrow.
See you in another
guys.
10 days.
This has been a Seven Lamb production.